and Beville Darden with the boot, sitting here with the one and only, the gorgeous Taylor Swift, whose new album Red is in stores and showcases her singing and songwriting talents like we have never heard before. The album is already a huge success as its first single, We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together, hit #1 in 32 countries. It made history as the biggest selling digital single in 1 week ever for a female artist. This sassy song is just the first of many hits we're going to hear on Red, and we're here to talk to Taylor about some of those hits.
That was so nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, Red is not just a color, it's a feeling. Tell me how you decided to name the album Red.
Red, calling the album that kind of came from a song that I wrote. And immediately after I wrote the song, I knew that we had to title the album after that song. And it's a song called Red that kind of correlates these emotions with different colors. And, losing someone is kind of categorized as blue in that song. Missing someone is dark gray, but it says loving him was red. And for me, I think that red is such an interesting color to correlate with emotion because it's on both ends of the spectrum. It's like, on one end of the spectrum you have happiness, falling in love, kind of infatuation with someone, passion, all that. And then on the other end you've got obsession and jealousy and danger and fear and anger and frustration and all that good stuff. So it's an interesting color to correlate with all the really intense parts of a relationship, whether they're good or bad.
Well, you mentioned obsession and infatuation. Your fans are obsessed with trying to figure out who your songs are about. And it's actually brilliant on your part not to reveal it because it gets people talking. But I'm sure you have several reasons behind not revealing the names behind the lyrics.
I think the reason mostly that I choose not to reveal it is because it's one thing I get to hold on to. I'm sharing so much with so many people that it's kind of cool to have secrets. It's kind of cool to have some things that I just don't tell people. And people can paint their own pictures. If they want the song to be about their ex, it's about their ex. If they want it to be about someone they think I dated, then fine. But I just always get to know that no matter how many details are addressed in the song or how many dots are connected by people or dots people think they're connecting, I always have that,
Let's talk about Everything Has Changed with the amazing Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
I hear there were trampolines and apple pie involved in that songwriting session. Can you tell me about that day?
Well, we wrote several times, but the time that we wrote at my house, I had just gotten a new trampoline, and I was like, Ed, come look at this. We go in the backyard, and he's like, it's a trampoline. I'm like, yeah. And so we go in the back, and we were jumping on the trampoline, and we had a guitar with us because I'd just played him a new idea that I had. And we sat there on the trampoline and kind of worked through this idea called Everything Has Changed. And it's about the idea that you could see someone and all of a sudden your entire perspective changes and you're thinking for two instead of one. They just have that much of a profound effect on you. And then my friends came over and we baked an apple pie.
Well, I Knew You Were Trouble is another one of my favorites on the album.
Thank you.
The guy's the villain, but the girl doesn't dodge blame for not reading the warning signs about the guy. What's the message that you want to come loud and clear through that song?
I think, I've written about shame on you, you broke my heart, but I've never written about shame on me, you broke my heart. I knew when you walked in that you were going to be complete bad news, and I ran towards you anyway. I believed you anyway. I fell for you anyway, even though every red flag was going up every step of the way. And we find ourselves in that situation where we want to believe, we want to think we're the exception, we want to think we can change someone or tame a lion or make a bad guy good or something like that. But 9 times out of 10 we end up looking back going, shame on me. Should have seen that one coming.
Now, Treacherous, you think it's going to be this sad love song, but there's actually some optimism that comes through on that song, and same with Begin Again. So these songs, what do they say about your views on love that you're kind of portraying through the themes of these songs?
I think for me, one thing I've learned about love is there are no rules. There's no guarantee that once it ends, you'll never find it again. There's no guarantee that if something is seemingly dangerous that it isn't worth it. And so, Treacherous kind of addresses that. It's about this feeling of kind of impending danger, but you enjoy the rush of it and you enjoy the thrill of it. And being with that person, you know, is maybe complicated or difficult or something like that. But it's got these lines in the end where it talks about how there's a line that says, "Nothing safe is worth the drive." And I think that was one of my favorite lines. When I was writing that song with Dan Wilson, it just kind of popped for both of us.
Well, you've done what so few artists can do, and that's develop not only a fan base, but a lot of respect in both the pop and country worlds. But given that, is it also a little bit daunting to have so many people to please when you're making an album?
It's a really interesting question. I don't think people usually word it that way. But it's definitely something that I find myself trying to balance because, you know, I am influenced by so many different types of music, and everybody's different with their musical choice. Everyone is different about whether they like to think of genres as something that defines an artist or if it's just kind of a category to put music into. I think for me, genres are really just a way for people to easily categorize music. But it doesn't have to define you. It doesn't have to limit you. And it doesn't have to make up this kind of imaginary rule book of you can only use these instruments and you can only use this kind of song structure and you can't go anywhere near like loops or big drum sounds or something like that because that would just, you know, I think that for me, I just love the idea of getting to paint with lots of different colors musically. And I love that the fans have followed me down that road. And I really appreciate the open-mindedness of them.
So when you're sitting down to write a song, you're not thinking like, okay, this is going to be a good hit for country radio or this is going to be a good hit for pop radio. It's just kind of an accidental thing, huh?
You know, it just kind of happens based on what kind of emotion these songs convey. I look at a record from an emotional point of view. Like when I'm picking songs for the album, I think, okay, that song fulfills sad, lonely pining. That song fulfills danger, risk, attraction. That song fulfills happiness, hope, new beginnings. That song kind of fulfills the same emotion as that one. I've got to pick between those two because I can only represent one of those emotions because I have to fulfill another emotion for something that somebody else might be going through. It's really weird how it happens, but you know, I don't think about like which one we're gonna go to country radio, which one's going to go to pop radio, which one's going to work here, which one's going to work in Europe. I make the record, I hand it to my record label, and they say, okay, we can work with this.
Well, I know one thing you obviously do think a lot about when you're writing is your tour. And the
yes.
tour in support of Red. Are the creative wheels already turning? Is there
Yes.
anything you can reveal that you're thinking about doing to mix things up this time around?
I mean, I love a theatrical production. I love for you to see a different thing for each song. I love for there to be surprises. I love the element of surprise. I love kind of having the audience think they're going to see one thing and then, you know, surprise, it's completely a different thing than you thought. So for me, that's a really rewarding part of putting on a show is getting to know that the crowd got their money's worth for paying for that ticket and for the effort it took to file into the arena or the stadium and find parking for their car and all that. I want them to completely, without a doubt, feel like it was worth it to come see me play.
Well, now I owe you an apology because back in 2005, before Tim McGraw even came out, I interviewed you and you weren't on the radio yet, and I said something to you like, well, if this whole music thing doesn't work out, you could be a hair model. Do you know how stupid I feel? So that being said, besides that, what's the craziest question you've ever been asked in an interview?
God, that's so funny. That's hilarious, actually. I don't know. You know, early on, I used to get, like, I'd get announced as the wrong name. Like, when I first started playing concerts, like, 3 different times I got announced on stages. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Taylor Hicks. And I'd walk out, and I was totally a different Taylor. And, you know, like, I was pretty used to, like, funny things like that happening in the beginning, so I probably thought nothing of you saying that. I was just sort of like, that's really nice. Thanks.
I use Pantene. All right, well, we posted on Facebook that we were interviewing you today and asked fans to submit questions. So I'm going to end this interview on a very, very serious question from a fan. It is, when are you going to write a song about Meredith?
Oh my God, I think that would be the dumbest song in the world. You know, if I would be like, I just love my cat. She's so fuzzy. She's just a cat. She doesn't know that people know who she is because she's a cat. You know, like people would be like, wow, you've lost it. You are absolutely entering into spinsterhood. This is crazy. You need to just like stop making music and get a herd of cats if you like them that much that you're writing songs about them. I love tweeting pictures of her. I love like having a pet, but I don't think I would ever write a song about the cat. I just think that people would be like, stop, just just never again.
Well, you guys were really sorry, but there is no song about Meredith on Red.
I think
but
you
it
just
is
heard it.
a fantastic album. Go get it. Taylor, thank you so much.
Thank you.